Welcome everybody. Today we are here in CMS and I'm pleased to meet Gregory Hay, Director of Additive Manufacturing at Airtech. So, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
I have just a few questions for you and I'd like to start with the story of Airtech, which describes how over the years the company has made a name for itself as an important global supplier of composite materials. In recent years, it has started focusing on the supply of materials and solutions for additive manufacturing technology. So what are the main reasons for you taking this decision?
So for all of its nearly 50 years in business, Airtech has been a key supplier and technical partner for all of the composite industry. So it only made sense that we use our technologies, our manpower, and our resources globally to try to solve this new opportunity and new challenge. So we're in a unique position that we can engage a customer from the plastic pellet, which we have many years of experience in extrusion to help us with formulations and production, all the way through to manufacture and demolding of a composite part for all composite industries globally.
Good. So Airtech is an acclaimed business with prestigious clients both in Europe and in US. Thanks to its ability to provide excellent solutions for a large-scale additive manufacturing. How do you deal with the combination of printing materials, supply, and service supplies? And how can you find the right balance between those two different services?
So in the composite industry, back now over 3 years ago, we made a decision to invest in this technology. And at the time, we also needed to buy the equipment. And so the equipment we purchased at the time was the best available. And so we decided to make this investment. And this allowed us to really get our hands dirty and know and learn the problems and the opportunities. So we made this investment to produce tools and also produce materials. And so we became a customer to ourselves first. And this helped us develop, test, and validate the best products. But also it was our responsibility to push the market. So many applications had yet to be solved. So we took this initiative early on to develop and validate and test to aerospace standards, both the materials, the process, and the application. And so at this time, nobody was making this investment. So we had to start off as a service provider and a way to show our customers globally, here's what's possible with technology using these materials and these processes. And so now we're happy to say that customers like suppliers like CMS have come to the market with great equipment and machinery that's going to help more customers adopt this technology. So we're really happy that more companies have come to the market and bringing great solutions that just help this technology grow more and more every year.
Good, very good. So in your work, you often find yourself halfway between system suppliers and the end users. How do you manage this business partnership? And can you perhaps give us some tangible examples?
Yeah, so this technology is growing rapidly, but it's a three-legged stool. And so each leg is equally as important. So that's machine makers, mostly software suppliers and programming, and material suppliers. So all three of these must grow equally for there to be balance and movement to the market and continuous improvement. And so on our responsibility, it's the resin supply, but also again we have to work with the whole ecosystem. And so again, we're always working with the customers, understanding their application, their needs, their requirements, and making sure that we work closely with our internal group for materials development and validation and qualification, but then also needing to work with partners like yourself and machine makers to make sure we have the customer's voice always in our mind. And so we learn this by doing, but also with working closely with our partners to understand you have close relationships with your customer, and we need to understand their requirements and their expectations. So it's really important for us to be, a customer and a supplier, and we need to be listening to the customer at all times. Right? End of the day, our boss is the customer, and our goal is customer satisfaction and their success. So it's no other way to do it but to work together and make sure that we're moving proactively and creating the best solution for the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's the right way to manage your business, yes. And you operate in a number of sectors like aerospace, automotive, marine, and wind energy. In which of these do you feel like you can make the greatest difference? And which ones do you see as the most important for the future? So, last but not least, I include everything. In which ones do you see the largest challenges in the development of materials?
So aerospace is usually the most demanding. Highest requirements, highest expectation, highest accuracy requirement, highest temperature, all these things. So it's the most challenging, but it's also our largest market globally. So it's probably I would say, most important to us as our focus of our business for many years. But all the other business units are also equally as important to us as they're all growing. So the most demanding is definitely aerospace, and probably the most important to our future. And I think, as most people know, aerospace usually has the highest standards, but also feeds technology down to automotive, marine, and all these other industries. So we kind of started at the top and working our way down. And I would say even from the beginning, we started very focused on aerospace. But I would say year by year, we're finding more and more interest from the other markets. So automotive is now very active in this space, especially in Europe. So we're seeing a lot of interest there and always growing. But every market has its own challenges. And so different temperature requirements, different materials, types of materials are being used. So we have to be very in tune to the customer's process, but more so about what they've been doing over the years. So every industry has its own way of doing things. And so we have to make sure that we are coming to the customer with a new solution, but speaking the same language. So if we're not providing something that's even as the same as what the customers the technicians on the work floor are expecting, sometimes they may not adopt it. So we have to make sure we put ourselves in their shoes and say, how do we think the same way and provide a solution that translates to what they're used to using or seeing from traditional products. So it's a challenge in every market, but we're seeing a lot of interest growing year by year in all these markets, but everyone has its challenge. I would say wind energy is usually, and marine are the most cost competitive and most challenging to break into. But we see some willing parties to go that direction, and we're also working on products to serve some of the low temperature applications very soon. So it's all important to us. They're all our customers globally, but yeah, I think aerospace is definitely the biggest target for us in the near term. Yeah.
Good. We are coming to our last question. A quick look around at the hot topic right now is sustainability. As suppliers of material, where do you position yourself regarding the minimize the material use and the recycling of used materials? And have you already put solution into place, or do you plan in finding effective solution in the near future?
Yeah. So sustainability is very important to Airtech. We've been doing this already for many years in the background, and actually not even talking about it. And so now we're starting to make sure we let our customers and partners know this. For our auxiliary products, we've been recycling materials internally and even starting to take some back from aerospace industry and recycling and repurposing it now for the past years. And so for additive manufacturing, we have the same goal. And so even now to this day, in our internal production, we've been saving product for scrap, testing tools, samples, all these things for the past 3 years. And so I have a healthy inventory of scrap to now start this internal work and development. So I would say we're not just talking about it, we're actually doing something about it. So we have active investigations ongoing and testing and trials on grinding, repelletizing, and reprocessing printed material, so that in the near term we can start looking at taking out-of-service tooling, test prints, purge material for additive manufacturing, and putting it back into the ecosystem, repurposing it, and making it back into a new product again for the customer in the form of pelletized resin that has a data sheet and everything. So making sure it's useful to go back to the customer to maybe make their next mold or tool or part. So yeah, we expect to have some good progress in this over the next 12 months. And we're getting very detailed on this, looking at the energy consumed to even go from grinding the part back to a pellet again. So that when we engage our customers, they understand that these green credentials are real, and here's the data to show it. And we know probably aerospace is probably the leading market pushing this, but it's important to everybody and important to us.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. So thank you, Greg, for this interesting talk and for taking the time to talk with us.
Welcome.
Hopefully, over time, we will have many other occasions to dive into the various topics we have covered today. I want to thank you, everybody, to join us and see you on the next talk.